How Eteri Tutberidze's relationship with students developed after the Games. Yulia Lipnitskaya. 2014 Eteri Tutberidze was talked about loudly after the 2014 Winter Olympics. When a very young Yulia Lipnitskaya flashed on the ice arena in Sochi. The figure skater made a big contribution to the victory of the Russian team in the team tournament, winning both the short and free programs, bringing the team 20 points out of 20 possible. The girl in the red coat, this is how Lipnitskaya was remembered by the public, conquering everyone with her performance to the music from the film, Schindler's List. She became the youngest single skater who managed to win the gold medal of the Olympics. At that time she was 15 years and 249 days old. Lipnitskaya, who mastered 3-turn jumps. Then no one talked about quadruples among women. In a few months, had excellent flexibility and won the European Championship at the age of 15. Was called the favorite of the personal tournament. However, strong tension, stress, fatigue, all this did not allow Lipnitskaya to show her maximum. She became only the fifth in the results of 2 programs. And then Adelina Sotnikova almost sensationally won the gold. At the post-Olympic World Championships, Lipnitskaya became the second. But then the results of the athlete only worsened. In the post-Olympic season, she twice took the silver medals of the Grand Prix stages, which allowed her to qualify for the final of the tournament. But there she became only fifth. At the Russian Championships, the skater barely managed to gain a foothold in the top 10, finding herself in 9th position. This result did not allow her to qualify for the European Championship. In January 2015, the first information appeared that the star athlete and her coach had a conflict. The denouement of the whole story happened only a few months later. At the end of autumn it became known that Olympic champion Alexei Urmanov became Lipnitskaya's new coach. The figure skater moved to Sochi, and it seemed to benefit her. She climbed the podium of the Russian Championship, winning bronze, and became the winner of the Tyrol Cup. However, soon his career had to be suspended due to a back injury. After her injury, the skater gained a lot of weight, which caused a lot of discussion. At some point, the athlete herself even had to make a statement that she was not pregnant in order to stop speculation. The skater officially announced her retirement in September 2017. Then she admitted that she really had problems due to weight, and attempts to lose weight in order to get in shape led to an eating disorder. The athlete was treated in the clinic for anorexia for 3 months. Tutberidze spoke about the termination of cooperation with Lipnitskaya a few years later, almost a year before the start of the 2018 Olympics, where she had already taken 2 figure skaters, Evgenia Medvedev and Alina Zagitova. Yulia Lipnitskaya will never come back to me. 300%. She won't take this step. She left for so long. She understands that I won't change. I have to work. Why should I take her back if she won't work? So that she is extras? Said Tutberidze in an interview with RIA Novosti. Moreover, according to the specialist, she was almost the last to know about the departure of the ward. By the time she was informed of this, Lipnitskaya's transfer to Urmanov had already been agreed. She left like this. At the skating rink in the director's office she reported this publication, a huge article with an interview with her new coach Alexei Urmanov. Tutberidze said, after completing her career, together with Elena Ilyinic, Lipnitskaya founded a figure skating school for children. More than once, the skater admitted that fame has become a serious test for her. So now she carefully hides her life. It is known that she is married to Vladislav Tarasenko, a figure skater with whom she trained in a group with Tutberidze. June 27, 2020, Lipnitskaya gave birth to a daughter, Katalina. So the girl in the red coat brought fame to her coach, Eteri Tutberidze, and became the first athlete whose conflict with Tutberidze was talked about in the figure skaters community. Elena Zagitova and Evgenia Medvedeva. 2018. If the drama of Lipnitskaya unfolded after the Olympics, then the bright confrontation between Evgenia Medvedeva and Elena Zagitova took place right in Pyeongchang 2018. The story of how, as soon as Zagitova, who left the juniors, bypassed the favorite Medvedev, causes controversy among figure skating fans to this day, even 4 years after those events. Even though Evgenia Medvedeva went to Pyeongchang with a leg injury, a stress fracture led to a double bone fracture, she was in the status of a favorite. She already had 2 gold medals at the World Championships, Europe, and 2 Grand Prix finals. Elena Zagitova spent the 2017-18 season for the first time at an adult level, but she already had victories at the Lombardia Trophy tournament, the Grand Prix final, and the Russian Championship. According to the results of the short program at the Olympics, Zagitova was ahead of Medvedev by a little more than a point. But later this played a decisive role in the distribution of medals. Since the skaters received exactly the same marks in the free skate, which was a unique case in the history of world figure skating, silver for Medvedeva became akin to defeat. For several seasons she confidently walked to the gold of the Olympics and eventually lost to yesterday's junior. Later, there was information in the media that Medvedev allegedly accused Tutberidze of not holding Zagitova for another year in juniors. Later, Evgenia herself denied these rumors. However, the beginning of one of the most high-profile conflicts in Russian figure skating was laid. On May 4, 2018, it became known that Medvedev stopped working with Tutberidze and moved to Canadian specialist Brian Orza. The first rumors about a change of coach appeared in March, when Medvedeva missed the World Championships due to a back injury. Later it became known that the skater made contact with Orza in early April, and at the end of the month their first personal meeting took place. Sometime after Medvedeva's transition to Orza, Tutberidze said in an interview with Channel 1 that she didn't know anything, that Medvedev was going to leave, and also accused the skater of ingratitude. Allegedly she didn't say goodbye to the coach, didn't give her a bouquet of flowers, a tradition that skaters follow. Here it is worth remembering Lipnitskaya, the break in relations with which unfolded almost according to the same scenario. Coming out of the Olympic ice, she threw a childish phrase, "Couldn't you hold Elena for another year in juniors?" I said, "Zhenya, what are you? Everyone should have equal chances. It should just be faith in the coach. Daily faith in the result. Not some conditions." Parting with Zhenya. If she puts forward some conditions or does not respond to SMS and calls, is probably inevitable. Of course, I would like the first time I saw her not at the Grand Prix. But still she had the conscience to come and give me flowers. I don't know to say, thank you. This is the first and the second. Unfortunately, in general, this situation is no longer new to me. I met with their athletes who left. Well, that's why I mentally, probably, prepared myself for this. Tutberidze said then. In June, already Medvedeva in an interview hinted that the coach was unfair to her. The most difficult thing in growing up is to realize that the person who helps you is not always for you and works for his own benefit, the skater said in an interview with Elle magazine. We should not forget about another indirectly affected side of this conflict, Elina Zagitova, who for a long time, and some figure skating fans still, have been accused of getting the medal of the games undeservedly. For 2 years, Tutberidze and Medvedev only occasionally touched on the topic of their conflict in their interviews. And then there was a pandemic of coronavirus infection, and Medvedev failed to resume training in Canada. Information about the return of the figure skater to Eteri Tutberidze appeared in September 2020. And indeed, they resumed cooperation after a 2-year break. However, after returning, she did not take part in any of the official competitions. It was about recovering from a back injury. And in general, it was clear that Medvedev would not have been able to compete at the same level with figure skaters who perform quadruple jumps. She devoted the Olympic season to participation in various shows. In particular, she performed together with the TikToker Danya Milikin in the Ice Age, where Zagitova was the host. Elina herself became the first figure skater in history who managed to win gold medals in all major tournaments: the Olympics, the World Championships, Europe, Russia, and the Grand Prix final. However, her career at the adult level came out, albeit bright, but very short. In December 2019, she announced the suspension of her career. Since then, she has not taken part in any of the official competitions. Zagitova and Medvedeva were able to get to the next Olympics in Beijing, but no longer as active figure skaters. The first tried herself as a correspondent. The second was an ambassador and commentator. Kamila Valieva, Anna Shkabakova and Alexandra Trusova. 2022 Tutberidze has already taken 3 figure skaters to the Beijing Olympics: Kamila Valieva, Anna Shkabakova and Alexandra Trusova. As a result, there were also more scandals. Here it is worth recalling the alleged doping of Valieva, who became the Olympic champion in the team tournament, and the personal competition littered with the same figure skater, and the drama of Trusova, who jumped 5 quadruples, the first in history, but failed to get around Shkabakova after Trusova's free program, which gave out a really phenomenal rental. She couldn't cope with her nerves, she cried, cursed with the coaches and refused to go to the awards. Phrases such as, "Everyone has a gold medal, but I don't. I hate this sport. They will never go on the ice again," and, "You all knew about Tutberidze" got on the air. The meaning of the last statement is precisely clear only to the figure skater herself and her coaches. But here many fans of figure skating have a natural question. Does this situation refer to the conflict that happened exactly 4 years ago? Indeed, if compared, it is the fate of Trusova that partly resembles the fate of Medvedeva, the silver of the Olympics. And the tears after the performance are by no means from happiness. In fairness, it should be noted that Trusova was the only one of this trio who did not receive a gold medal. Valieva is the champion in the team tournament. Shkabakova is in the individual. Here the question also arises of why the Russian Figure Skating Federation did not begin to carry out replacements in the commander, thereby depriving several more athletes of the opportunity to become Olympic champions. It was difficult to rejoice at any medal. Shkabakova, who gave all of herself on the ice and quite deservedly took the gold medal, did not know how to behave and practically did not smile. Trusova took the silver as the biggest defeat of her life. and the hunted Valieva was completely left without a pedestal. Sobbed in the hands of the coaches after the performance and uttered the ironic phrase, "But the ceremony will not be cancelled." The holiday of sports in its direct sense was not at all reminiscent of it. Only the smile of Kaori Sakamoto, the Japanese figure skater who won bronze, seemed sincere. Many fans of figure skating have a question: will Trusova repeat the fate of her predecessor, Medvedeva? Will she continue to train at Tutberidze's headquarters, or will this conflict develop at the Games? Now Trusova's departure from Krustalny seems to be the most logical development of events. But do not forget that she had already tried to stop working with Tutberidze and went to Evgeny Plushenko's academy, with whom she stayed only a few months. But after that she returned to Tutberidze. Whether the skater will be able to overcome the attraction of the famous coach this time, we will find out in the near future. It is reported by The Rambler